Hey everyone, it's Bob Perkins bringing you another episode of Inside Sales Studio and a Monday Morning Sales Minute. It's great to have Mike Brooks, Mr. Inside Sales, back for this mini-series week number 2. Mike, how you doing today?
Bob, great. Again, thanks for having me here.
Well, it's our pleasure. Last week Mike talked about this idea of practicing how you handle objections instead of trying to wing it. And this week, we're in for a real treat. He's going to talk about when you get to the end of the sales cycle, when you're trial closing or you're actually in the closing process, some objections we get. And I know, personally, Mike, the ones I've heard a lot are, that's out of our budget or the price is kind of high. That's very common. And then a second one that we hear is, well, I don't have the authority, or I got to go talk to the business owner. I got to talk to my boss and see what he or she thinks. Can you talk to the viewers about how to handle those?
I'll do exactly that. And I just want to harp on one thing. You said a magic word. You said practice. Everybody thinks back. I'll ask you in the audience, how many of you, just raise your hand, how many of you believe that practice makes perfect? And your hands are probably up. And you know what? It doesn't. Practice only makes permanent. Only practice of perfection makes perfect, which is why we need to script out and be prepared with a best practice approach. So I just want to get that out of the way. So you brought up some 2 really good objections you get at the end of the close. And guess what I've done? I've scripted them out. This is what you should do. So if somebody says to me, hey, Mike, your price is too high, I say, hey, I definitely hear what you're saying, but let's take price out of this for just a moment. And let me ask you this. Besides price, what else is coming up for you right now? Now, this is a crucial way to isolate whether it's price, because if he just says, no, it's all about price, then you can start handling that objection. But if he reveals, hey, there are more things besides, well, I'm going to need to speak to someone, and we have to check with our current vendor, and I'm not sure about delivery, guess what? If you dive in and try and drop your price, which is never a good idea, that's not even the real objection. So that's the first way to handle that.
I love, Mike. Yeah, let me jump in. You did 2 things which I actually teach myself, and I love them. One is you create a little bit of empathy. You say, I understand that the price is important to you. I get it. I understand it. That just lowers the tension between the 2 of you. Then you said, if price wasn't an issue, and you use the word what, you said, what else do you need to understand what else is there out there? That word what is open-ended. They have to open up, right? Fantastic. Thanks.
And, besides that, I used another important word. I said besides price. So what I actually want to do is I want to lead the prospect into revealing what else is standing in the way. So many of all these techniques are open-ended. You're right. There's another way of dealing with it. You can just hit it straight up front. You can say, I know we're not the cheapest out there, and it's important that you heard me. I said we're not the cheapest on the market. There's a very important reason for that. The quality that you're going to get goes way beyond the extra dollars you may spend up front, and here's why. So now you build value. It's another way to open that up.
And certainly that value piece can come after you sort of get them to open up a little bit, get them talking. What about this other one? We hear a lot, it's not my decision. I got to speak with my boss. And
Yeah. Great idea. Now here's the thing with this. Again, it's all about isolating the objection. I need to speak to somebody is often a smokescreen hiding something else. So what do? You isolate it. Many ways to do it. The core concept is the same. You say, hey, that's perfectly okay. I think you should talk to somebody. So once again, there's that empathy piece. Bring the guard down. I think you shouldn't. And let me ask you this. You and I have spent some time together. We've gone over things. You understand it pretty well. Let me ask you, if you talk to your boss, partner, spouse, whomever, and they say, well, whatever you think, based on what you and I have gone over today, where are you leaning? Or what would you tend to do? So what you're doing here is you're isolating, you're softening, you're not saying, oh, are you going to do it? Because that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
What would you tend to say? And that's where you're isolating it.
And I think it's taking the sale a little bit further down the sales cycle, is it not?
Yeah, and that's a great point, Bob. All the scripting that I do, all of the talk tracks, everything that I give sales reps, allow them to keep the sale going, keep this conversation going, keep exploring and isolating. What? I love your word, what. Hey, what is standing? What else besides? It allows the prospect to speak, and that's what the sales reps need, ways to continue the conversation, stay in the close.
And sales reps out there, I want you to hear this. the term script is not a bad word. When you think about people reading off a script, telemarketing, yeah, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about having a practiced and mastered response to these common objections, Mike, right?
Don Shula, quick story. Don Shula, coach of the Miami Dolphins. They asked him how he's so successful. He said, we practice, drill, and rehearse, because if we get into a game situation and we need to think about what to do next, it's too late. Yeah. Same thing with sales reps. If you get in a situation and you need to think about how to respond, it's too late. You need to learn, memorize, and internalize a best practice response.
And speaking of football, sales reps, don't let yourself get sacked. And so many times we bail out, right? The person says, well, you know what, send me some information. I'll review it with my boss. Okay, what's your email? Can I call you in a month? That's bailing out, and you're better than that. So Mike, these are fantastic tips. I think we'd like to have you back, and I know we're going to see you in April at the Leadership Summit. And Mike, you're going to speak on some more objection handling. Also, we're going to look at a little B2C, business to consumer. A lot of our business companies also have a consumer division, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Mike, if anyone wants to find out a little bit more about you or get some of your resources, what's the best way for the viewers to reach out?
Visit my website, mrinsidesales.com, mrinsidesales.com. I put out a free e-zine. You get new scripts every Tuesday. I've got a lot of free resources. My blog is awesome. I invite you to check us out.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. Mike, thanks for joining us today. Until next week, everyone, good selling. Bye-bye.